Hey everyone, today we have Chris here, the founder of I Am DeFi and GorillazFi. Hey Chris, how are you doing? Of
I'm doing fine. Thank you for the invitation, Ritwik. Very
course,
happy to be here.
I'm glad to hear that, and thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to tell us about your story and all the amazing things you're doing in Web3 to all of our CoinEctors and listeners. Before we get into the questions, can you give us a brief description of your projects?
I'm Chris. I'm the founder of I Am DeFi and now the new GFi and Aioxa. I'm a front backend developer, designer in Web3.
That's amazing. Thank you. I'd definitely like more details about yourself, and then maybe we can start with your life before Web3 and how the triggering moment or how your journey in the Web3 space began.
I think it started like everybody else. So like before that, I used to do a lot of programming, coding, and web design. As I was growing up, my family is from Germany. It was natural that I would feel a lot of that punk rock, punk influence from Berlin. And since I'm a kid, I was in love with that, like street art and that culture. So I started doing graffiti, started to do art, trying to learn about a lot about classic art. Renaissance period was always like a favorite of mine, like Caravaggio, studying those masters and uh, and I thought I was gonna do something artistic, right? Before that, when I was around 6, my stepfather knew nothing about computers. Like he has a fishing company, like completely oblivious to technology. On my birthday, he came with a Commodore Amiga and he gave it to my birthday, and I can never forget these words. And he said, "I will never understand this, but this is the future." And that's all. And he gave me that. So I had these computers. My brother was a Star Wars geek. We had all this Atari at home, everything, consoles and gaming. But the computer was a totally different ball game. We didn't have a lot of games, but I had a big manual that came with it. I just started copying the manual teaching how to do a square. It was 40, 50 pages of code. You couldn't save it at the time. So if something happened, I have to do it all over again. And that was my intro to coding from a really young age, but always felt inclined to art. But mathematics was always something I was always in love, that the logic of it, solving problems. But I started with art, I then started DJing with vinyl and all of those things. But then I became a father and I had to change a little bit of my lifestyle. I was a dad super young, even trying to go like in school, was wanted to finish something related to boats. So I wanted to come back. I'm from the south of Portugal, so sea and boats is something that's enriching in that culture. So maybe I thought I'm going to do something with this, and so I studied applied maths to photography. I didn't know that would come in handy in the actual future, and starting to do works. First, I went to work in financials in companies and work. Then I started working with design with companies like Red Bull for doing like prototypes and coding. But it came to a point, I'm very introverted. My health is not always the best. Is eating always, I think it's similar with everybody that works with those things, like a lot of mental issues with always overthinking and stuff. So I came to a point I was so tired and getting sick. I said, I'm tired of doing all these things. I want to do something that makes me happy. And I started DJing again. And this not long ago, probably 2016. And I started DJing again. I was starting to do music. I took a master production with a Pioneer DJ, teaching kids how to mix with vinyl, do production. At the time, I was starting to blow up as a DJ. My last gig was going to Episode Festival in Vietnam, one of the biggest underground festivals in the world. This was New Year's. COVID started. I managed to come back home, and then COVID came, and DJ was over, right? For everybody. Stuff was coming. Like, what do I have to do? I have a couple of daughters, and I sold a bunch of my DJ stuff, and I bought GPUs, and I started mining Ethereum at the time. Doing my rigs, I started going into the space, found out Twitter. I knew about Coin from a long time, actually, not only because of the Satoshi paper, but because of the cyberpunks. I was always into it back in the 90s, was a fan of those guys, read all those manifestos. So it was something I was really in. And I used to play poker a lot as well. I played professional, play with stuff like full tilt poker, go to World Series of Poker, EPTs at the time. There was this guy that did this 2011, 12, 13, something like that. They wanted to do a poker room. This was the Mizrahi brothers using Bitcoin at the time. They were like mining and doing stuff. But this was along the time there was this big hack in China where they stole a bunch of Bitcoin. So I was never like super deep into it. It was hard to buy, sell. After COVID, all of this, I started mining. I started to understand smart contracts, and then going into the philosophy of Web3, of decentralization, equal opportunities, different way of doing things, the future of web, tokenization, digital identity, and it blew my mind, right? Like for some, I was always an activist of equality and having and believing in the power of automation. Smart contracts have no feelings, tell them what to do, like voting and all of that. So I started to learn how to do smart contracts. At the time, there wasn't a lot of people doing it. I did some contracts for some people, started to do those things, starting to experiment. I experiment a lot, more than putting out. I do a lot of experimenting. If something comes out, I do testing and all of those. Meanwhile, I got some job offers, was trying to do things, and in Twitter spaces all the time, sharing the love with everybody, learning every day, like just sharing. And that was for me the time, like the beauty of all things. Then I actually work with companies like Lux Studios for on XRP, the Xpunks. But even before that, always envision, okay, I want to do something for myself, something a little different and not so based on PFPs, but more related to art. That's why I am DeFi, previous DeFi elitism. And we changed it and rebranded because a lot of our friends had a hard time saying DeFi elitism. We say, okay, so there's an issue here. And also there was an issue of people connecting me with that project, that knowing is my project. It wasn't actually clear. And I am not the person that goes to space and shield my project or DM you, I have this project, go there and get it and stuff like this. I never done it. That's why we were always so selective and slow all this time because that's something we never did. So instead of having PFPs, wanted to have art front, right? The art would symbolize the actual membership because in the end is a membership with my art. And that art is something I did for a company called Solon. I did the actual artwork for the CEO of the company. I based the project on all of that. I wanted to have a connection to a fashion brand and trying to build something. So how can I build what's the best mean to actually build something that will showcase the possibilities of Web3 and what fields will actually create bigger impact. For me, it was e-commerce, right? Because it's the most used tool in web business and it would be the best showcase. Memberships, integration with automatic market makers, payments, NFC chips identification, token gated stuff, incorporating Ledger for storing data from your stock and all of those things. So I wanted to do in the back, wanted to do that. But in essence, IAM was something that I wanted to have as a membership for Meetup, where we share a bunch of information, stuff that I learned. We have information for coding, design. We do a lot of workshops over there about coding, teach stuff from using your ENS domain to create a website, creating bots for Discord, creating ERC-6501 token-bound account contracts. Everything that comes new, I try to do a workshop and implement them everybody. They get drops from my art that I do sometimes. They can claim it for free. And that was also the essence, a group of people that try to curate it and we all can share and grow together. There's actually a reward, an affiliate reward connected with the fashion brand when we come out and the tools that I'm building that will be shared with the holders at the time as a monetization, like incentivization for holding it. But that was the essence of it in the ballpark.
Wow.
Makes sense.
Yeah, of course. And that's such an amazing journey. I think the fact that you ended up at Web3, I think it's the perfect intersection of all of your interests with coding and art. Now you have your own membership club, which is IMDeFi, and you're sharing all your experience, all your knowledge with them. So that's fantastic, and I'm really glad to hear that. So you've obviously told us a lot about IMDeFi and all the cool things you're doing there. But there's another project you've started called GorillazFi. Could
Yep.
you tell us a little bit
Yeah.
more about that?
The whole point was, and because I am DeFi, it's a little bit more serious. It's not like a Discord where you chat all day and a community vibe to it. It's more of empowering, and I have this in my manifesto. I think empowering the individual. If you empower the individual, that individual will be able to do something for the community. As first you do for yourself, and then you actually doing for yourself, you will actually empower everybody. And that's the essence of it. So it wasn't a place where you go and have a lot of chatting and fun. We talk about coding and design, a bunch of people, right? It's just I'm doing a lot of the time. You can go there, ask me questions. If you're doing a project, I will help you out with some issues you have. But it wasn't something fun. I actually designed those gorillas maybe 4 years ago, 3, 4 years ago. It was always how I envisioned a community like a PFP project. We love gaming. Everybody where we are together, we love gaming. We love all of those things. I wanted to create something that would be more fun, a place to actually have fun, be more about community, and be related to gaming. It's a gaming community. We're not building games. We're building tools. We have a bunch of bots that we already built, our own. Nobody has them, like a bot in our Discord where you can find people to play with you. It's all automated. You choose a game or many people you want. You will send a message. People can join. It will create a VC for you after you leave. It deletes that VC so it's clean. And on the AdSense, we want to support the people that are building games, support people that are sharing content, creating content for like gamers. We want to have an esports team do gaming content. And on top of it, we also wanted to demonstrate how and actually do how you can actually have in real life products where you actually direct them to a specific niche. Because I found that a lot of projects were like, they have those things, they don't have a specific niche, a specific target because it's community based. It's all always communities, community coming together. But when you do a product on those, so who's your market, right? It's your community. So how will people recognize that brand? Related to that, we want to create our live products. So we're doing GFi coffee, GFi energy bars, breakfast bar for kids, a bunch of stuff, but all directed to streamers and gamers. Our products are all designed to actually target that specific market. And we have stuff like inside those products, we want to have in-game items like skins, like season passes that we can then start working together with people that are building games that can offer some value to us. And in return, we have value for that. So that was the essence of it. My issue was always, okay, so how can we have something self-sustainable on the reward part for the community, but also self-sustainable on the actual business side? And what can we do with the funds we collect from selling that membership, right? Because in the end, we were selling a lifetime membership to be part of GFi. To tackle that, 3 years ago, I was thinking about this. One of the things we're proud of is if you go to the GFi website, it's very long. I know people don't like to read, but I wanted to have it like that. I wanted to have it specifying everything that we plan, everything that we want to do. And from the token that we will not have a token. This is not, we always say this is not a NFT project. I don't even know what the NFT project is. A project that utilizes blockchain technology to build everything that we are. NFT is a kind of demonetization for that specific item inside of that technology. So in the reward part, we think we can buy a validator node and give back 100% of those rewards to the members. We can give back the secondary sales, a percentage of it, leave the other for the project. 60% goes back to everybody. And then we have affiliate agreements. We don't call it revenue share because I've talking with lawyers, all the members have a fixed 5% affiliate fee program from product sales and tools that we build on licensing. If some members want to license one day a product, that money will go back to everybody on the project, including the company. Also on the products that we sell online or when we start having that in real life problem. So a 5% fee from those sales will go back there. Something super important we always wanted to be present there is the expectation of value when people join. So to get all of those things that they can apply, but we're not promising any riches or millionaire. If you can work hard enough to have a good brand, and in the end of the year, you can buy a game or two, a keyboard, claim some t-shirts on the shop. For me, that's a good expectation of value, and that's more than enough from what we're offering. And I hope that people understand that this is in real life expectation that you should measure, and projects should be very careful on what they promise in the future or in the end. Overall, we wanted to have something to have fun for gamers and just hang around and have a cool PFP to actually show off, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And from everything you said, it's obvious that You put a lot of thought into it. Your team has been building something very valuable. It's great to hear builders and founders like you who are focused on creating something sustainable and long term. You mentioned you don't want all the hype because that is short term. Many projects have tried that. Some have succeeded, some haven't. It's great to see you have a very realistic approach, and that's very nice. And I'm sure your community does also really appreciate that. So, you mentioned about the art for Gorillas. You said that's your project where it's more about fun, and that's more similar to what we're familiar with in the NFT space, like a PFP project. Can I just ask about that? What inspired your art choice? I'm assuming it's based on gorillas, right? Coming.
Yeah. So at the time when I actually did it, was reminiscent of like, for me, the GOAT in NFTs is the CryptoPunks. Even if people don't necessarily have any value or something like this, but if you understand the space and everything that was done, that's what's going to be part of history. That's the value is that one, right? That's what started all of this. Even if they don't have a business behind it, nothing like this, it's he has that art historical value to it. So it's is the goat, like that's it. And at the time when people were doing things a lot pixelated was like trending a lot. So and you had the board apes, but I said no, let me design something that people can relate to. And if you look at it, you see the actual similarities to it. I don't know if you had the chance to actually see them. You can see the actual similarities to it, but my thought was the gorillas will rule over the apes, right? Let's make something that is very tasteful, it's well designed, it's clean, it's something that is already part of the actual space, but in a way it's unique. You can see the resemblance, but you look at it and you see it is not the same. So we're not a derivative or nothing like that. It's their own thing. And even though we have the board face sometimes and stuff like this, you can look at it and saying this is unique at the time. I had it all that on the shelves. I had a bunch of trades already done, but it was always like time and finding the right people to actually support you and being with you. And even with I am DeFi, we don't do any money there. We have some mints going on, but that money basically pays for servers, for some stuff that we try to do, like launching stuff we never made. So that's why we would generate money to actually the fashion brand. We're gonna have to go to investors. I wish we could mint all fast and I have some money, but I also have kids, I have bills, I have a lot of stuff, and giving my time back to the community also means I have to get something back. I finally, after I finished my contract on XRP and all of that, I had this in mind, and I said to the guys, okay, we're gonna do it. I had everything already planned, website done, all the tools and stuff like this. So when we were meeting, let's see when we're meeting and all of those, and we haven't done yet. But and then we actually got Oki, amazing artist in the space, and we actually trying to see if you guys listening, if you're an artist, you want to participate with us, just DM me because we want to have we could have a lot of artists in the space to give their touch, to give their look, and also be present in the gorillas in a way. So that's something we want to do with the art as well. And I hope people like it and have something that because the I am DeFi is not the best PFP ever, but it is a good art piece. We actually did something cool with it as well. We were talking about the art. We did this kind of IP rights for, I did 5 different pieces. If you go to Discord, that was announced a while ago, we'll be able to use those high quality prints from the art and do business. Print them, sell them on Etsy, eBay, whenever they want to incentivize their entrepreneurship and to incentivize them to actually generate some money and use those actual stuff that they have available for them and start to do that. But in the art of gorillas, that's it. Once I have something fun, we're gonna have a lot of fun with the trades and a lot of gaming related stuff.
That's amazing. Yeah, super cool. I did have a look on the website. I really did like the art, and like you mentioned, the resemblance to BAYC. I also noticed that. That's quite common with a lot of projects. They have similar traits. Adding your own twist and touch is always a good thing to keep yourself unique and differentiated. That's really great to hear. Just confirming, I read on the website the project is planned to be released somewhere in late Q4 this year.
Yeah, we wanted to release those gorillas, but in the end, the metrics will be the community. We don't want to launch something just to launch and then fail without good support. So all this time we've been working on building community, creating the tools for it. In essence, we want to make sure we have a solid group of people. So the project, when we launch, is gonna be successful, because we actually needed to be successful to put this in like place. We will use the funds to lock 1 year salary for developers, designers, and product stuff for a year, so we can start making products that generate money for the company. We will going to use part of the funds is to have the team be able to receive every month for at least a year to work on everything we need and grow our team. That's our plan for the funds and to start the product as well.
Great. That sounds all good. Sounds like you've really thought about it and have a good plan in place. Obviously, you did mention some things about funding, about going to approaching investors and all that stuff. And obviously, you also have a different, you have the project IMDeFi, which you generated some funds for with the Mint. Maybe you can talk about both IMDeFi and GorillazFi. How did you initially fund these two projects? GorillazFi is still pre-mint. How are you funding that currently? You already mentioned the revenue post mint, but if there are any other details, you can talk about that too. And
Yeah.
then,
So we were in a way fortunate enough that I can do all of those things.
Mhm.
All the coding, smart contracts, design, Discord, everything that cost a bunch of money, I was fortunate enough to be able to actually do it. On the I we had mints, but a lot of them were actually given to the community. Probably more than half we actually gave back, because the whole point is, if we see in the community somebody that we think is going to be a long-term holder, he will actually appreciate what we're doing and will only need the help, is a good person, we, I will give them to him, right? It's not like who's doing, but everything was done. So we have our team, Benji, Liz, Jess, Kenny now, Bearded, and they do an awesome job with the community and the future product related. But on the other hand, we were fortunate enough to actually be able to do all of this alone. And even on the Gorillas, if you see all the bots that we build and all the stuff that we build with zero money, I'll imagine when we have money.
Yeah, that's nice to hear. And obviously, I could predict your answer because when you were telling us about yourself, you mentioned that you have all these diverse skills. So it's really nice to hear that you were able to do it completely by yourself and didn't require any external funding. That's great. I'm sure the listeners enjoyed listening about your projects. We'd love to hear your opinions about the NFT space. You've been in the space for a few years now, taking into account the current market sentiment for NFTs. Some people are saying it's a bear market, or maybe we're just getting out of it. What do you think are the biggest challenges in this space, particularly for creators, from your own perspective?
Okay, it's a tricky question. So you're right, that space is actually mature, but the NFT space is suffering because all the money went away from NFTs to meme tokens. That's what happened, base and clear. And there wasn't a lot of new money coming in, just money going from one side to the other. I believe, like it happened, 90% of the project died because they were just made from a pure speculative asset. Nothing else was over there. And there was always this expectation of a lot of people coming and saying they're going to do a bunch of stuff, zero knowledge, zero skills. You used to see this very often. People are no devs, or don't know what they're doing. Once they have the money and they actually need to do something, they blocked. It's easier to just go away. And this space forgets really fast and moves on. That was an issue. The market will come up, but I have a different perspective. The future of NFTs and the bull market coming, and the projects that we're building on the bear market that are solid, and they were trying to build a solid product and they have a solid community, doesn't mean you don't need to have a NFT project that is based on products. Look at examples like Ghost Labs and stuff like this. They are purely community based and they do super well because that's their proposition of value. And they will do amazing when the market comes up because they have a strong community and that will pump up the value of their assets. On on the other hand, I believe those projects will do good. We're gonna have, if the bear market comes, this hype again of, you see now on Ape Chain, it looks like we're going back in time. I've been playing around these NFTs coming back and forth, people just flipping. There's nothing there, it's just flipping. People understand that. There's like 50 projects coming in a day, maybe one is out there, but the rest of them is it's just flipping. People buy, come, and then somebody will dump and you lose. I see the technology evolving, and where I see the future of it is more on low-end NFTs as memberships, as loot box, as having more on the IDD identification part of it, like token gated stuff where you have signature, monthly signatures, like stuff, subscriptions, models. That's where I see the technology of using NFTs and coming in place more than other stuff. You're going to see projects doing probably good. I hope GorillazFi is one of them because of that mix and maybe because of how we trying to build. Success is not 100% right, but project coming out with a little bit more stuff. But when it booms, you're gonna see probably the same thing, like a lot of pump and dumps because people are looking for quick money. You can't blame them. It is what it is. But in the technology part, I see a all complete shift about it. You're gonna have those historical, like I said, the cyberpunks, bored apes, Penguin Penguins, Lazy Lions who are making a comeback. All of those are going to be solid and going to be Azukis. They're going to be higher. But on the other hand, technology part, you're going to see a lot of this subscription models, NFTs coming in, memberships coming in, dynamic NFTs with data. Um, Companies are starting to actually build NFTs on data collection. Those are going to be good on the next bull market. The technology is better, data collection is getting better, and maybe that subscription to actually get paid with those are going to get better. But I see on the low end, it's what's going to make a killing. And like gaming, of course, gaming will be a good one.
That's super cool and very insightful. Glad to hear that you're also keeping up with the trends and different perspectives of the NFT space and have a holistic view of the space. So that's always nice to hear when founders have that. I'm sure your community really does appreciate that. Talk a little bit about your community. Let me ask a question about that. This is for both projects, I am DeFi and Gorillas. Does their opinion on Discord, on Twitter, and all those different platforms, does the community's opinion and or feedback impact your vision or mission of what you want to do and your future goals?
And even on I am DeFi, even knowing those things, I always ask the community their opinion and what they feel about this, how we should approach this. Even knowing so it's something better, I always said 20 minds work better than one. I missed something. We actually incentivize for it. Look for errors. Look for something that is not correct so I can fix it because I cannot see it all. I actually need it. So I think it's my strong point. It's what's going to make me succeed in the future because I listen, I try to get better, and I take their opinion close to my heart. It means everything to me because they are the ones who are seeing the product. As creators, it's like the fight between the coder and the UI designer, right? They're always fighting. One thing is one thing, the other sees the other thing. So sometimes if we're working on design, we see everything on the standpoint of, and I'm a little bit perfectionist with everything I want to do, and we see it on a perspective of, okay, this is to do this function, this, you go there, and that's it. Like we got thing, but they're the ones who are going to click it. They're the ones who are using it. If they see something, even if it's one person, for me is enough. If one person sees something, I don't sleep at night because I know, okay, it was the same with defiletism. Even knowing we want that to be super meaningful, and that was the whole point for me of Web3, all us together going against the elite, right? And we can do something together. Even if it's one, I will not sleep at night. Something is wrong, and it gets me better. And their opinion, and they are the reason why I do all this, or I wouldn't even bother. Sometimes I go to bed and I ask myself, why am I doing this? I could be working for somebody, make a bunch of money, and go at 7 o'clock at night to watch TV and do nothing. And I'm killing myself working every day super hard to bring something that they will feel proud and that I will feel proud as well. Always listen to your community, listen to people around you, improve, try to get better is super important. Don't be arrogant. Don't be think all because you don't. They are the ones who are consuming your product, your art, and all of those things. They are the ones who are supporting you. Without them, you're nothing. So you should listen to them.
And I don't think anyone could say that better. Like you mentioned, I'm sure your community really does appreciate that. The fact that you, as a founder, have so many things to do, but you're still there in Discord and Twitter listening to them. Communities do really appreciate when the team recognizes their opinion and voices. Like you mentioned, you actually do implement the things that they mention, like things like errors. And like you said, 20 minds are better than one. And that's a great mindset to have. I'm glad that you've adopted that mindset. Obviously, it really does make sense since your project is to do with a membership and people are really buying into a club. So that's really great.
Yeah, I have all these people helping me out, right? When I want to do something, I help them, but they help me more. I hope they realize that this is the best of both worlds.
Exactly. It's how in Web2 they have testing groups and stuff like that. It's your
Yeah,
own,
exactly. Yeah.
like your own.
Group.
Exactly. That's fantastic. And it's great to hear that you're leveraging your community and using it to your advantage. Yeah. So let's just next question again about your projects. So if there's three things that you could say on what sets your project or projects apart, what would be those three main things?
Hmm. I would say down to earth is
Mhm.
one of them. The other one is passion for the Web3 space and not about tokens, and community. Those are the three, I think. Yeah.
That's great. So those three are definitely very important things, being down to earth, having a passion for the actual space, not just there. Like you mentioned before, a lot of people are here to make quick money, and that is fair. Money is important, but it's great to see that you're, well, one thing that sets you guys apart is not only money, but passion, actually wanting to learn and grow in the space. And then obviously building a community. That's one of the many NFT projects, especially during the deep bear market. I don't think we're in as much of a bear market now, but maybe a couple months ago during the absolute bear markets, there'd be many tweets where people would just say, one utility is community, like community is an actual value of a project, and that's a utility. So that's fantastic to hear. That's one of the things that sets you apart. So that's great.
And everything we have there. Actually, if you go in live, would like to see your surprise on it. Are you on the Chris One official Discord?
I don't think I'm in it. If you wish, I can join
Uh,
right now.
so,
Okay, I got it.
okay, and we will make you a member as well. Just say hi on the onboarding chat, and I'll give you some roles,
Will do.
and you'll see what I'm talking about in 10 seconds.
Mhm.
Not much on the chatting because again, we chat a lot on the GorillazFi. That's where we are always playing out.
Yeah.
But there, if you say hi on, you see the onboarding chat. Are you there? Just
Can I share my screen also so that maybe the viewers can
yeah,
also?
yeah, of course.
So let me do that.
Actually, going to see how it looks without me seeing because that's something we would see a lot.
Okay. So here's Chris on
Yeah,
the Discord. So let's just say,
if you say hi, hey guy, good. Okay, we're gonna give you. Okay, now he's gonna open a button. So you actually have my manifesto, but if you go like down Chris Von Hangout, if you press on the, let's say, security tips,
mhm.
that's super important for us. You
Nice.
have all of that stuff over there.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's so
And a lot, if you go to crypto recaps, we do a recap every week, but like more on if you go up, we have a lot of stuff going on.
nice.
But resources is where if you go to, let's say, crypto resources,
Mhm.
that's curated stuff from many years, and you'll find everything you need over there. And if you press on it on one of them,
Let's see. Let's look at tokenomics. Let's see tokenomics. Okay, wow. Yeah, so a lot of links by Vitalik. Okay, that's super, super cool. So this is probably from all the experience that you've had in the many years
yeah,
of,
what's going on. And then you have the same, if you go down, you have the same for design. If you're
yeah,
working on design, on the other one, there underneath crypto resources where you
okay,
were,
yeah,
libraries for everything,
wow,
links for everything. On the programming books, there's hundreds of books there as well. All
wow.
the languages, C++,
Wow, that's super, super cool. So this is not only,
uh,
I'd say, and it's quite diverse from crypto to design to programming. So this is again all your skills that you've gotten over the
uh,
years.
everything there. And then we have the workshops,
Mhm.
request frames, a bunch of stuff.
Super nice.
So the workshops is where we learn anything. Somebody comes, even like now you're part of a community, there's something you want to learn. You just write in a message, Chris, I want to do a workshop about something, and we'll get it done.
Perfect, perfect. Amazing, amazing. That's super cool. And thank you so much for actually showing us this live. So I'm sure the listeners will be super interested
Yeah,
now. Obviously, we only saw a little sneak peek, so the viewers can go join
yeah,
your Discord
and we have the co-work lab where I'm a lot of the times hanging out there, where we incentivize if you're working alone from home or something like that, that's always feel free to go there. Company get at least some kind of regime, share ideas so you don't have to get underwhelmed for working from home or feeling alone or just having a little bit of company or doing stuff. You always can go to the co-work lab.
Super cool, super cool. I love it. Really nice. I like the Discord, nice structure, and yeah, like you mentioned, a bunch of resources for many different things. So that's again,
And then we do and now we're gonna do, if you go up a little bit, go to announcements and you'll see the announcements. Go there you go, underneath
yeah.
announcements. There you go. So
Okay.
this is the IP that I was talking about.
Okay, okay, I
If
see. Nice.
if you go down, you see the example of it.
Oh wow.
There you go. Yeah. We have 5 different variations and you can use it wherever you want.
Wow, wow, wow.
That's our new utility. And we dropped a bunch of stuff. If you go up a little bit, I'll show you some of our Kinky. It's all about the experience most of the time. And even with the drops, it's not most of the drops go up a little bit. It's not about just making money. Here you go. So
Mm.
we have actually we dropped the watches a while ago, and you're gonna get some as well. And the quantum tapestry, if you go down a bit, I think so. You go a little bit up, this one here. Yeah, so if you actually go there, you actually will be able to, if you press on that, you'll see a little bit different experience. And
Mm.
we actually did this page and this claiming part on Discord at 2 a.m. in the morning in half an hour.
Wow. So is it 12, am I correct? Or is my chemistry bad?
Is half of it, 6.
Okay, 6. How many quirks? Oh, I've forgotten this, all these science questions. Okay, that's really cool. I love it. That's
Yeah,
nice.
and then we have the info over there. And the NFT itself, it's super fun. It's a play on, I see if you like, you were almost there, if you like chemical and quantum physics and stuff, was like a representation with trying out stuff like quantum tunneling, quantum entanglement, and using the theory of life to try to create this mathematical formula kind
Mhm.
of simulation, right? Because you cannot do those computations on the browser, of course,
Yeah.
but to actually create this artwork. And if you go back to Discord, I think you can see it on, is there a link on announcements? There you go. To
See.
the OpenSea, go up a little bit.
Yeah, this.
Yeah. So everything here is code. Nothing is not code. So even the image, the banner image, everything is code. If you press on it as well, and you're going to see the actual thing coming up.
So this is on, you guys released this on base. Okay, nice.
Yeah, so those ones, so we actually had the other ones like Ethereum, and we wanted to have something because this was like drops to everybody or like even claims,
Yeah.
and we didn't want to have nothing that actually would do the same. It has to be on the other one. Are you what browser? On OpenSea. You have to actually see it on OpenSea.
Okay.
There you
Okay.
go. There you go.
Wow.
And then you can press the chaos button down there. And now we will actually more stuff. So you can look at it for 10 minutes. And if you see on the top, you'll see the tunneling happen, the state changes, the life creator or died, and how many were like destroyed. So in 5 minutes, you will actually see a totally different shape of that stuff going on, and his life is alive and is evolving and is doing a bunch of stuff. And then the cool part of it is that you can right click, save as an image, and then do whatever you want with it.
Nice. Nice. Love that. Super cool. Yeah. So this is again like you said, not only focusing on things that like PFPs and stuff, but actually technology of NFTs. So I can see you're not only saying it, but you're actually doing it. So that's super, super cool. Love to see it.
We have a few of those like this. We have our 3D watches because we're gonna have a lot of stuff related to also the future of fabrics is digital.
Mhm.
So we're tackling on it.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Very nice. Super
And you
cool.
can see, you can see on the watch, if you go up a little bit, this one here, OpenSea page, maybe go to the OpenSea page and you'll see our, so the watch is based on the artwork. And
Yeah.
if you press on, let's say the red one, if you want, if you like red or that one,
Yeah.
and it's actually a GBL file that you can use on your 3D creations.
Okay. Really nice.
It probably is popping up. There you
Cool.
go.
Wow.
If you zoom in on the front, you'll see it's based on the artwork.
Love it. Love it. Wow. 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 Yeah. Very detailed and
If you zoom in, I don't know if you can zoom in on, like scroll in
cool. Okay.
with your,
Yeah. Okay.
you'll see.
Wow.
And those were all free drops for everybody,
For the members, right?
for the members. Yeah.
Super
We
cool.
had, I think, about 6 drops so far.
Mhm. Wow. Love it. And this is, yeah, amazing art. And I'm sure, yeah, you have some cool things here in the back also. I'm sure that,
Yeah, yeah, the circuits. Yeah.
yeah. And the little Rolex sign. Is that a Rolex sign or maybe your own?
It's no, it looks a Lux Studio sign. It looks like, but it's not.
Okay, okay, nice, nice. Love it. That's super cool. Okay. Thank you so much for this, giving us a
Yeah.
deep dive into your Discord and sneak peek at what the members get, everything, all these cool, super amazing resources, claims and NFTs, wearables, and all those great things. I'm sure the listeners are extremely intrigued now, extremely curious, and they'll be joining your community and checking it all out for themselves. Usually, before we end, obviously, throughout the interview, you very graciously dropped a lot of alpha already. But before we end, I usually ask the interviewees if there's any exclusive alpha they could drop for our listeners, anything special. So if there's anything else that you could drop apart from everything you've already said, or maybe just recap some of the stuff you said.
So on alpha, we actually have a little bit of alpha and is related to the gorillas and something to do with Bitcoin. I'm gonna leave these 2 keywords. We're
Mhm.
not gonna, the project is not gonna be dropped on Bitcoin because it wouldn't make any sense for the tech that we're building and want to use as membership. But there's something happening for in Bitcoin for a few holders coming in very soon. Probably by the end of this week, we will announce something. And also on the DeFi part of it, you have Aioxa, and Aioxa is the tool that I've been building for a while and is something that I think is needed in the space. It's something for the last 3 years I've been talking about it because it has something to do with NFC tag integrations, dynamic product experience for real-time product metadata, event-based rewards, talking about sustainable production, tools for sustainable productions with pre-sale smart contracts to secure buyer funds and manufacturing funds and production. So it minimizes waste through demand-driven production, for buyer refunds if it's not available, a bunch of cool stuff that I think will actually create an impact, but also stuff that will be super easy for NFT project, crypto project, brands as a whole to use. And that's our challenge. That's what we're trying to solve, something that you can easily drag and drop, embed on your website, and start using stuff that can actually make an impact on production, waste reduction to the environment, and for your project as well, and for your holders, and utilizing a bunch of cool stuff. That's Aioxa.
Amazing. Wow. Thank you so much for this fantastic alpha on Ioxa. And obviously, then also, like you mentioned, with the Bitcoin, I'm sure again,
Mm.
that's gotten people super curious and they might be bombarding you with questions. But like you said, it will probably be coming by the end of this week. That's fantastic to hear. And thank you so much for sharing that with us. Before we end, I'll just do a quick little recap of everything that was talked about in the interview. So everyone, can just get a refresher. So this was Cris Bond. He's the founder of I Am DeFi and GorillazFi and Ioxa. And he started off his journey with coding and web design. He was influenced by punk and street art from when he grew up in Berlin. And then he was introduced to computers through his stepfather, who got him his first computer at a very young age. and he always had a love for art, coding, and mathematics. He studied applied mathematics and cryptography, and then he started working in finance and design, and then went to DJing. And then, unfortunately, due to COVID, that DJing journey was cut short. And then after that, he started mining ETH, got more into Web3, and then he is planning to build a fashion brand with the IMDeFi membership club. And the IMDeFi membership club is a bunch of different things, like we just showed you on their Discord, from workshops to education to people starting creating an amazing community. And then obviously now he's releasing GorillazFi, which will be coming at the end of this year, hopefully. That's a project that's more with a PFP and about building a community and something that's more fun. And obviously the focus on gaming and creating a gaming community. And then he also shared with us his experience and his opinions on the NFT space in general, and the direction he thinks it's heading in. How that space was, unfortunately, many projects during the bull market made false promises, but there are future trends, and there's a shift in technology to memberships, loot boxes, token gated subscription models, and all the above. And then obviously towards the end, we asked him some more questions about his project, and he mentioned one key thing is that he and his team, they always listen to their community, always take their feedback, and more minds is always better for the team. The community always helps with errors, and they're like a test group for the project. So that's fantastic to hear. And then the three main things that Cris said sets his project and his community apart is that they're down to earth, super passionate for Web3, and they're community centered. They welcome everyone with open arms, and it's a fantastic community. So hopefully that was a great recap. And before we end, Cris, are there any closing remarks? Anything you'd like to share with us?
No, just thank you for the invitation to chat with you and be able to actually share with you what we're doing. And thank you for giving us a voice and doing this show. It was a pleasure. And thank you for listening. Thank you for the questions and being part and doing your part in the Web3 space. Appreciate that.
Thank you. And thank you so much, Cris, also for coming here, joining us, and giving us all this fantastic information, telling our listeners about your amazing community and all the great things you're building. Hope all the listeners, all the KOINectors who are listening really enjoyed. Make sure to check out Cris Vaughn on Twitter. Check out all of his amazing projects. Join their Twitter, go on their KOINect page, buy some NFTs if you're interested and if you can, and just say hi. Thank you guys so much and hope you have a great day. Bye bye.